Looking at our world from a theological perspective. This is the Theology Central Podcast, making theology central.
Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday, September the 29th, 2021. It is currently 5:50 p.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the empty sanctuary of Victory Baptist Church, located right here in Ovalo, Texas. September the 29th. I want you to think about that. September the 29th. Before we know it, September is over. Then we are into October, November, December, and we say goodbye to 2021. Before we know it, this year is going to be over. Another year gone. Another year you're never going to get back. It's gone. It's disappeared. It's like sand through your fingers, water through your fingers. It was here. You had it. It's gone. What did you do with 2021? How did you use your time? What did you do with your time in 2021? Did you make good use of your time? Let me ask you this question. Was there something that throughout this year, throughout this entire year of 2021, every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, was there something you did every single day and you did it every 10 minutes? Let me ask you something else. Was there something you did every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you did it 96 times a day? Was there something you did 96 times a day in 2021? And when you look back at it, you may want to stop and go, wait, what? I did that 96 times a day. Wait, I did that every 10 minutes? Now, at first you may try to say you did not, but if you did, that means 96 times a day, you were doing this, and that was time of 2021 that is gone, that you will never get back. Are you happy with it? Was it a good investment? Now, you may be, well, wait a minute, what did I do 96 times a day? Because you don't know me, so you can't tell me what I did 96 times a day. You don't know me. Maybe you're an exception, but according to the study that I have here in front of me, there's a high probability you did something 96 times a day, which comes out to about every 10 minutes. You did this. So, okay, someone listening has, I think, already figured out where we're going. I think they've already figured out where we're going. But I have a study here in front of me, all right? So before I answer, all right? Okay, that is true. I do try to go live about 96 times a day. And I wish I could, because I would feel like that would be a good investment of my time. But here's what I want you to think about here. I want you to think about this, all right? I'm going to tell you what it is, all right? And this study comes from Tennessee. So we have a listener from Tennessee right here, right? So you guys figured this out. All right. So here we go. I want you to think about this. When I tell you what this is, I want you to really ask yourself, whoa, that was a great investment. I am glad I invested so much of my time in 2021 to this activity. Or maybe it's going to be a little convicting. All right. Here we go. Headline. And in fact, I just got this article. I don't even know this. I don't even know how I came across this article. I came across it a few minutes ago, and I sent it to my family. And I said, hey, I didn't say anything. I just posted the article in the family group text and sent it to everyone. I don't think any of them responded. Well, you're going to see why here in a second. All right, here we go. Headline. Americans check their smartphones 96 times a day. Americans, so I don't know what it's like for those in Australia. We got people who listen to us from all over the world. I don't know what it's like in your country, but here in America, Americans check their smartphones 96 times a day. Here's the information. New research shows that U.S. is deep into the digital age, with data showing Americans check their phones 96 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes, according to global tech care company And the name of the company is ASURION. And I don't want to say their name incorrectly. The company also said it's a 20% increase from a similar survey researchers conducted 2 years ago. So that means the graph is going up and people are checking their phones more and more and more and more. Now, I at this point, I don't want to offer any kind of judgment about it, whether it's good or bad. I just want to ask you and that's why I started with that it's, September and the year's almost over. I want to start it from just a time perspective. Now, maybe not all people do this, but this is a major issue with me. I'm almost have a compulsive disorder with this. I am so preoccupied with the concept of time that it literally drives me almost to the verge of insanity. And my family can't stand it. Look, before I go to bed, I'm going, what is on the schedule tomorrow? Everything needs to be scheduled from the time we wake up. I need to know, when are we doing this? 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 Because I have it all, like everything's blocked. Okay, from this hour to this hour, I'm going to listen to music. From this hour to this hour, I may listen to music, but I'm going to listen to a specific kind of music or do a specific thing with a specific playlist, whatever. Okay, then I'm going to watch TV from this time. Okay, then I'm going to read, then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Everything's got to be planned out because I hate with every ounce of my being. I can't even explain to you what it does to me. When I get to the end of the day and I look back and go, wait, what? Oh no, the whole day was wasted. If I feel like the whole day was wasted, it's over. I'm done. It's like, I don't want to sleep for the next 10 years because I got to feel like I've got to get it back. I've got to get it back. And I know philosophically, I really can't get it back. That day is gone. That hour is gone. That minute is gone. So for me, before we even look at this from a biblical or theological perspective, just from a time perspective, 96 times a day you're looking at your phone? Is that a good investment? I mean, honestly, is that a good investment of your time? Now, I don't know what you're doing those 96 times on your phone. Maybe you're looking at a Bible memory app and you're memorizing scripture. Maybe you're looking at a Bible app and you're reading scripture all those 96 times. Maybe every time you look, you're listening to a sermon or a Christian podcast. Maybe while you're trying to listen to a Christian podcast, you keep checking your phone, doing other things that distracts you from the Christian podcast. Maybe. Who knows? You know what you're doing. Only that's between you and God ultimately. 96 times. I'm just looking at these numbers and I'm like, that is absolutely insanity. 96 times a day. And then I stop and go, wait a minute. I have somewhat of a similar problem. Now, I'll explain my setup. I have a phone that's been given to me because of my seizure disorder. I have to carry it, but the reality is it's dead, okay? I haven't plugged it in. It's dead. It's beyond dead. So I have a phone, but I never look at it because, I never have it charged. And I know that everybody gets mad at me because I'm supposed to have it charged. But, okay, the only time I have it charged is if I'm going to go to the movie theater and I have my tickets on it. Then I show it there. Other than that, I don't pay any attention to it. However, I do have in my house 2 iPads. Now, the iPad Pro is basically the music listening device that's hooked up to the stereo equipment. That's what that's for. Nice, large screen so I can see the album art. There it is. Okay, great, wonderful, looks great, does everything I need it to do. I also use it for reading certain things. I read certain comic books. I have it for that. Okay, new comic book series. I have it for that. Okay, I may use it for the Kindle reading app at times. Nice, large, beautiful screen. Wonderful. Okay. I have another iPad. In fact, it's the one I sit right here. This is one I use for church. I have my notes on it. I use it for when I'm reading news articles like right now. And I have this one usually plugged in, and it sits on top of my Yamaha amp where I listen to music through. Now, here's the problem, and I've caught myself, and it makes me so angry. I'll have the iPad Pro playing the music, right? Headphones on, music. And guess what I'll find myself doing? Walking over and checking the other iPad, checking news articles, checking, whatever. And I'll be like, wait a minute, I'm not paying attention to what am I doing? what am I doing? Why am I doing that? Why am I checking this thing? And so sometimes I'll say, no, I'm not going to. I go sit down. I'm like, don't go look at that. And I'll realize, now I'm pretty good at not checking. Like when I'm watching a movie, nothing is to be checked because I'm analyzing every part of the movie, every scene, every camera angle, the story arc, character development, narrative, plot development. Okay. So I'm very good at not checking it when I'm watching a movie, television show. I'm good there. But sometimes with music, I'll walk over and it makes me mad because when it's over, after that hour of listening to music, did I really pay attention to the music I was listening to or did I go check it? So I know it's easy to fall into the trap. But I want you to just think about it. 96 times a day, every 10 minutes, you're looking at your phone. It's not good. Now they go through a lot of the statistics here, and now what's interesting is nearly 50% of Americans basically want to use their phone less and check it less. But it's one of those things. It's like everyone will acknowledge I check it too much, but it seems like everyone is finding it difficult to stop doing it. So everyone seems to acknowledge it's a problem, but nobody seems to have a firm grasp on what to do. So I'm going to challenge us from a theological perspective. Okay, this is just kind of like a little devotional thought, and just try to challenge us in our spiritual life. This is a couple of things to think about. I find it somewhat fascinating. Now, just this is from a Christian perspective. My entire Christian life, of all the Christians I've tried to disciple, or Christians I talk to in the church, or even as a pastor, I have heard, if I've heard this one time, I've heard it a bazillion times, and that's not even hyperbole. It's constant. Well, I can't really read my Bible this year because I'm too busy. I can't listen to sermons because I'm too busy. I can't engage in meaningful Bible study because I'm too busy. 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 That's all you ever hear. Everything. I'm too busy. I can't go to church. I'm too busy. I'm too busy. I can't pray. I'm too busy. I can't do anything. Anything spiritual I can't do because I'm too busy. And then you find out, well, you check your phone 96 times a day. Yeah, then it gets really quiet. Now, I know I'm in an empty sanctuary right now, but I'm telling you, if all the people of my church were here, it would get very quiet right now and get very uncomfortable because some of them would probably be checking their phones. Okay? Because it happens. Now, I'm not one of those pastors. Some pastors have almost wanted to ban cell phones inside the sanctuary. I don't do that because my church, a lot of them use it for the Blue Letter Bible app, which I encourage. But I've been preaching at times and I look over and see someone actually texting. And you're like, you just kind of want to stop and go, am I bothering you there? Am I bothering you? Would you like me to stop? You think I'll stop. I'll wait. Or, hey, like in public school, would you like to share that text with the rest of the class? Because you're like, what are you doing? I mean, like it's so ingrained in your brain that someone won't even realize how disrespectful they may be to the preaching of God's word. Now I'm stepping on toes. I know. Now I'm going to offend some people. But it's got to be talked about. When the culture is like, hey, I think we may have a problem here. When the culture is like, I think we may have an issue here. The church, and of course the church, the church always follows the culture. It always follows the culture. It always has, and it always will. The same problem is in the church. So I find it interesting that Christians claim that they don't have time to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you name whatever it is, but they have time to check their phone 96 times a day. Now I know what you're saying, but it's different. I know it's different because you can just check it and go back to doing something, check it and go back to doing something, check it and go back to doing something. I understand that. I do understand that it's a different type of situation. I'm just saying that's a lot of time in the day. So what if you were doing something else with it? So I would challenge you. I really would. About it, I think most of our listeners, according to statistics, most of our listeners use an iPhone. I think about 86% of our listeners use an iPhone. That's what I think most of the statistics indicate. I've had to look at all the platforms because they tell me what device you're listening to me on. And I know that on iPhones, you can set it up where it will show you what you're doing with your time, what apps you're using, how much time you spent. And I think you should have that on and you should look at the weekly report. It's just not for judgment's sake, not for you to be condemned, but just so that you can manage and go, whoa, I'm spending a lot of time looking at cat videos on YouTube. What in the world am I doing? Or I'm spending a lot of time looking at people telling me what they're eating for supper on Facebook. Okay, whatever. You may want to just ask yourself, okay, what am I really gaining from this? Remember, time is gold. Time is treasure. Okay, when you get to the end of your life, I've stated it so many times, when you get to the end of your life and you're laying on your deathbed, you're not going to be like, I wish I would have texted just a little bit more. I wish I would have checked my Facebook status a couple more times. I think you're probably going to go, man, I wish I wouldn't have wasted so much of my life. And I don't even know if you can comprehend how many minutes has been lost, how many seconds, how many minutes just gone, just no more. Just no more. Anytime I go to the doctor's office, sometimes I'll have my Kindle with me, and I'll sit there and I'll be reading, and I'll just look around, and everyone's on their phone, and usually they're texting. I don't know what they're doing. Now, maybe they're reading, maybe they have the Kindle app on their phone. But I have a tendency that a lot of them, it appears, are just doing all kinds of just your normal kind of stuff, and it's like, what could you be doing at that moment? So let's just throw out a couple of things. What if, just think about this, what if 96 times a day you prayed? Even if it was like a 5-second prayer, 10-second prayer. What if 96 times a day you looked at a Bible verse that you were trying to memorize? 96 times a day, you just looked at a Bible verse. What if 96 times a day you thanked God for something, for your salvation? What if 96 times a day you prayed for someone that you are worried about or their salvation? What if 96 times a day you read, 1 or 2 sentences from one of the church fathers, or you read 1 or 2 questions from one of the historical catechisms, Puritan Catechism, Westminster Catechism, you name it. What if 96 times a day you were doing something? And just think of how many times those 96 times a day was actually distracting you from maybe something important, maybe listening to a sermon, maybe doing something else. It's something we have to consider. 96 times a day. I don't have a phone. And this is one of the reasons I don't want one. And I'm not trying to look at this from a generational thing. Look, generations change. I understand that. Listen, generations change. Younger people are going to do things differently than the previous generation. I hate looking at it like, well, back in my day, we didn't have phones and we sat around and we talked to one another. All that old people stuff. That drives me crazy. Okay? I don't want to look at it. I'm looking at it from just a very practical, from a time perspective and a theological perspective. Christians say a lot of times, Christians are biblically illiterate, theologically illiterate, and say they don't have time to do either, but they check their phones 96 times a day. At some point, stop the excuses and look at it, be honest with yourself. I have here in front of me a Luther Small Catechism. What does God forbid in the first commandment? This is question 28 in Luther's Small Catechism. God forbids us to have other gods instead of him or beside him, in parentheses, idolatry. Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only thou serve, Matthew 4:10. I am the Lord, that is my name. My glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images, Isaiah 42:8. Why do men have other gods? Men have other gods when do men have other gods? I should read this correctly. Men have other gods when they regard and worship any creature as God, when they believe in a God who is not the triune God, when they fear, love, or trust in any person or thing as they should fear, love, and trust in God alone. So he goes after anything we put before God, anything we show our love or attention, God. Well, we bow our head to a electronic device 96 times a day. We bow our head 96 times a day to look at who knows what. Even if you're not looking at anything incorrectly, you're putting it ultimately before God 96 times a day. And Christians will say, oh, I can't memorize scripture. I can't do this. There's always a million things that people can't do. I don't know how to control it. I really don't. Look, I'm not even going to pretend. I don't even have a clue what you can do and what you cannot do. I know I get frustrated with my family. I do. I'm like, man, stop looking at your phone. Put it down. Yeah, I walk in there. What phone? What phone? Okay, I get ready to talk. Oh, you're texting someone. Never mind. Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. I'll just go talk to my dog because my dog doesn't have a phone. Isn't that wonderful? My dog doesn't have a phone, and he's always right there to talk to me. But people always got their face in their phone, even sometimes when they're watching TV, which drives me crazy. Don't even watch the television show. You're not watching it. You're looking at your phone. Just turn it off. Okay. To me, that is as disrespectful to the writers and to the producers as it is when someone looking at their phone and I'm trying to preach. But it's about you. That's what I really want you to see. It's about you. It's about what you think is important. 96 times a day. How important is that 96 times a day? I don't know. Maybe there are people who are probably using their phone always for something important, at least 50, 60, 70% of the time. Obviously, if the shoe doesn't fit, then don't wear it. If it fits, you've got to look at yourself. And I don't have a good answer for you. I don't know what to do about the situation. I know phones are great sources of information. Great sources of information. I use my one iPad. I have a police scanner, but a lot of times I have my other one on. I'll be listening to police scanners because I just love listening to what's going on. I get news notifications about everything, weather notifications, Amber alerts, all of that information. I have at 10 a.m. every day, I get the daily. I get a notification on my iPad for the daily Bible verse of the day. I have that set up. Boom, 10 a.m. Boom, there's a Bible verse. I have. I also try to look at catechisms and creeds and church fathers. But guess what? Sometimes I'll start watching something. There was, I don't remember his name. There was some stand-up comedian. I found a video on him on YouTube. And the next thing you know, it's like 11 o'clock at night. It's 1 a.m. And I'm like, what just happened? I went down some rabbit hole watching all of these videos of this stand-up comedian. And I'm like, I've just spent 2 hours here. It's now 1 a.m. What just happened? 2 hours. 2 hours I could have been reading. 2 hours I could have watched a movie. 2 hours I could have done a million other things. That it would at least felt like I had something concrete that I accomplished, but I spent 2 hours just watching videos of a stand-up comedian. Now, they were funny, but I can't really tell you, I can't really remember much of anything. And it's just that's when you realize, wait a minute, I think I wasted my time. Now, if it would be like, 2 hours that I got something concrete that I can say, okay, I remember this and that was fun. Okay. But if not, I just wasted 2 hours. And again, 2 hours of 2021 and that I'm never going to get back. Now, maybe you feel like it's a good investment. That's okay. If you think it's a good investment, that's between you and God. I'm not here to do that. And I'm not here to yell and say, we need to get rid of our phones. I'm not here to say that. Because again, I think they're great tools. I don't have a phone, but this morning, using this iPad right here, listen to 2 episodes of The Rise and Fall of Mars Hill. 2 very depressing episodes of The Rise and Fall of Mars Hill. 2 very discouraging, depressing, sad episodes of it. So that's a good use of my time. That was a good use of my time. But there's plenty of other things that I probably did that was a waste of time today. So 96 times a day, something for you to think about, just to challenge yourself. How does it impact your worship? How does it impact your spiritual life? How does it impact your family? How does it just impact your enjoyment of things from movies to TV shows? How does it impact that? Again, one of the things whenever I get ready to sit down to watch anything, man, I put everything. I get all the iPads as far away from me as possible, and I try not. And sometimes people will say, I texted you, and I'm like, well, I was watching a show. I don't check my iPad when I'm watching a show. I don't check it, okay? I don't check it, all right? I try not to check it when I'm listening to music. I try not to check it when I'm listening to a sermon. I try not to check it for anything when I'm listening to a podcast. I try not to look at it. I hit play on whatever, and then I walk away from it. I try to get it far from me, because if it's in your hand, then you start looking at other things. So I don't know if that's helpful. I don't know. But to me, it was convicting, because even though I don't have a phone, I still can relate. And again, typically when I put on headphones and start listening to music, and I go over there and start looking at my iPad, I'm like, what am I doing? This is the hour for music. Don't touch that iPad, other than the iPad that controls the music streaming services. When I'm going from playlist or album to album or whatever I'm doing, just go to the next one, hit it, open up the album art, step back. Or if I'm using Apple Music, hit the lyrics, and then it'll show the lyrics, and I'll just step back and watch the lyrics go by and not touch anything. So so I know the struggle. I'm not coming at this that I've got it all figured out, because I don't. It's just one of those situations. The world changed. We have this new technological tool that can be greatly beneficial, helpful for a million different issues, a million different things. But with every good thing, there's always a dark side to it. So you can, if you have a solution, by all means, let me know. Someone knew immediately what I was possibly referring to. Someone immediately mentioned the phone. So they even deep down knew, because I think we all know how many times we pick up and look, or people who have a phone, look at it. One of the reasons I didn't want one. That's one of the reasons, because I knew that there would be a grave. I didn't want the thing stuck in my hand, looking at it every time I turned around. I did not want that. And I have to combat it with the iPad. Same situation. Same situation. There you go. All right. Another. I'm on a roll tonight, man. Woo! I am just picking those subjects that's going to make me so popular. Wow! I just went after patriotism in the last live broadcast. Now I'm going after idolatry for phones. Oh, I'm just finding golden calves and knocking them over. That's all I'm doing, right? Okay, and it usually doesn't end well when you knock over someone's golden calf. They get really, really, really upset. So, but we all have them. We all have them. All right. Well, make it very clear. Even if someone doesn't look at their phone 96 times a day, they probably got their other issues that captivate them. They obsess over, they think about, they focus on, and usually it's not God or the things of God. Usually it's everything else, because by our very nature, we are the God that we worship, and the God we want to please, and the God we want to serve, and the God we want to focus on. And so we do that which brings us the greatest amount of pleasure, or what we put our focus on. And we all struggle with it. We all struggle with it in some way, shape, or form. And trust me, before cell phones, people found ways to waste a whole lot of time. Before cell phones, Christians were still telling me, I'm too busy, I can't read my Bible, I can't study, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't read this, I can't read that, I can't do this, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. And that's before cell phones. That's even before the internet. So we always find a way to do it. But when new ways arise, we have to identify them and fight it. We have to combat it. Now, are we going to do it perfectly? No. Thank goodness my salvation is not based on how good I handle my phone, or how well I handle my phone, or how poorly I handle my phone. Thank God my salvation is based off the finished work of Jesus Christ, because, well, we all fall short in some way, shape, or form. We all do. We all do. And I struggle with it greatly. I struggle with it in the sense of my iPad. Right here. And I have a tendency when I grab it, I just immediately pick it up, and I want to check whatever. Now, don't have social media, so that's good. So that saves some time. But man, I can check news sites a million times a day if you let me. I can check news sites all day long because I want to know what's going on. I can check wrestling sites all day. What's going on? What's the latest news? What's going on? I can check things about movies, music news. Oh, all day. I mean, technology news, you name it. So there's a million things I can check. I know where my issues are, and I hope it's not 96 times a day. I really hope it's not. I really, really, really hope it's not. Really hope it's not. So, all right. You can email me your thoughts, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. I was hoping someone listening live would go, thank you for providing a very thoughtful and convicting message this evening. I really appreciate it, but everybody got silent. So probably everyone is busy, I don't know, texting someone else or checking. No, I'm joking. But hopefully someone found it to be beneficial, hopefully. All right, everyone have a great night. Again, you can email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Tomorrow's a new day. Maybe cut that 96 times down to 56 times, maybe. Or maybe if you're going to check it 96 times, it's 96 times for something meaningful, valuable, and you feel it's a good investment. Just a thought. But all we can do is confess of the time we wasted today, because we are to be good stewards of time. And we can only confess when we're bad stewards of what God has given us. And every day he gives us 24 hours. And trust me, they go by just like that. Before you know it, today will be gone, and you'll be looking at a brand new day, and you'll never get this day back. You'll never get another hour, another second, another minute. It will never come back to you. All right. Everyone have a great evening. God bless.